everyone? Happy Thirsty Thursday. Crying Stripper here with you guys. Got a fun replay for you today. This is going to be a double feature, happen in the same game, and you're going to get to see both aspects of it here. This is going to be Miss Riley Toxic, featured her on the channel before, and Mr. Dab, featured him on the channel before. Both of them are going to have fantastic games here. We got Riley right now in the Minigumo. There's also some absolute scrub lord and Johnson here with them. But this is a definitely an interesting game. Maybe even a little bit of a comedy of errors. And it's going to go back and forth. Our team is going to try to do its best to throw the game here. Again, too, if you guys are new, do fun stuff like this in the community. If you want to stop by Twitch or join our Discord, can hang out, or if you have a review that you want to send me, feel free to email me with that review. Trying to do more viewer replays if they come my way, and this one is definitely good because it happened in the same game. So right away, the discussion here that we're having, and here comes the nasty CV. This CV is going to be a pain in the side of basically everyone on the team, in particular myself and Riley as the only DDs. He does a very, very good job of continually spotting myself and Riley for the enemy team, which is a bit of a nuisance. So Riley's going to smoke here, try to stay away from the enemy CV, and it's actually going to serve a multi-purpose here. It's going to actually effectively smoke up our div mate Dab. Initially, to the discussion here that I'm having with Riley, I'm going to pick up or try to contest that fire health buff, and she's going to pick up this one. Me being in the Johnson, I feel pretty confident that if I come across a enemy DD, I'm going to have an easy time with it. So yeah, let's see now from Dab's perspective what he's looking at here. As Riley's smoke is there, I am pushing towards that health buff, and then I say, oh crap, there's a Sejong there. Probably not a good idea for me to push into the Sejong. And then Dab says, hey, you know what, hold my beer. I'm going to switch over to the AP, and I think that man's just chilling there. Which he is. Dab's going to get a fantastic salvo here onto the Sejong, and the Sejong, just because he smoked, he got not safe. So that is first blood and a dev strike from Dab there. And you can see now over here on Riley, she's moving in a position to support me as we just picked up the heal buff. I'm coming across the Halford there. Riley's going to help me out and get some salvos into the Halford here. And we're going to be able to take out the Halford. Again, however, that CV is still a bit of a nuisance. Notice the FDG there too. Riley's going to put some torpedoes up towards the FDG. Which are going to land, and you know, definitely makes it so that this whole flank is basically null and void here pretty quick by our division here. And you can see what Mr. Dab's doing over there to the FTG, putting in a salvo into the FTG there. He's going to be actively switching between, you know, his HE and AP rounds here onto the FDG as the FDG is bow on. I'm then going to also open up into the FDG. I have smoked up because the CV is going to be a bit of a nightmare here for me. Some more good salvos here into the FDG from Dab. And you can see that smoke from Riley coming in handy. Dab picks up the double fire on the FDG, causing him to eventually burn his DCP. And Dab is completely not spotted here, which is beautiful technology. That smoke from Riley served multi-purpose. It, you know, kept her safe from concealment from the CV, as well as it kept Dab safe from concealment for a couple salvos there. Basically being able to shoot, what now, 3 or 4 salvos without being spotted. So Ruslan, great Battleship 2, was one of the Dockyard event boats. Plays very similar to like maybe we're going with 406s, gets a speed boost and a reload boost. Higher caliber guns though, and you'll see Dab, you know, utilize all of this boat here today in this replay. You can see Riley's PEDs going in on that poor FDG there. As Dab and I continue to pepper him. There you go, Riley hit her PED, which is going to cause a flood and Dab still has a fire going on him. This FDG is just not having a good time. That is going to be a very, very quick exit for the FTG. Switching back over to Riley. It is arms race. Riley is going to be picking up buffs here. This game is going to be very, very fast-paced. Again, though, however, a bit of a comedy of errors by a few members of our team here. And honestly, the team is going to try to throw this game. But Riley and Dab say, that's not happening on my watch. Too much Riz, too much Utini. Sorry, inside joke from the stream. If you aren't following me, again, stream every night on Twitch, and you could be joining those fun little inside jokes. Anyways, alright, so Riley's going to put some basically aerial denial torpedoes here towards the Austin and the Iowa. And again, the CV is there to spot Riley. There's a battleship that is unnecessarily going to be pushing into his death, as well as we are going to have 2 cruisers and another battleship on the backside there, that 7 line, that are going to essentially chase, however, be in a position not to chase because there's islands on their left. So they're essentially useless until they come out, and at one point they will be ramming each other and effectively ramming each other to their deaths. So now, because Riley and I were on one flank, it kind of left, and there were only 2 DDs in for both teams here. There is now not a DD on the opposite side, so Riley's positioning herself to get spots and potentially, you know, contest some of those buffs there for the team, as she has those peds going out there towards the Iowa and the Austin. Just again, aerial denial peds, and doing some work here, whilst trying to spot that opposite flank. Again, you can see those 3 ships on the 7 line. They're going to continue to chase. However, honestly, what they need to be doing is rotating back and around. I'm kind of highlighting that there with my mouse, if you guys can see that. Those islands on the left side of their ship are going to make it so they effectively aren't going to be able to get shots, spots, anything like that. So effectively 3 boats that are out of the battle for minutes on end. Riley's going to try to pick up this buff here. Again, you're going to see the CV is just going to straight up be a nuisance for her. Was for me as well in a DD. That CV player did a very, very good job of trying to contest both Riley and I. Riley is continuing to spot here for Dab, and Dab's kind of going to be the only one taking advantage of that. And you can see Dab over here switching back to where he is. Again, those 3 boats on that 7 line, not in a position to shoot, but Dab has positioned himself in a manner to get some shots here. And again, rotating towards where he knows the push is going to become. You can clearly see the vast majority of those boats pushing down from the 3-4 line. This Iowa's just cutting out and effectively taking himself out of the battle. However, we still have 3 boats that are chasing. Again, in all full HP. They won't be for long because they are going to just ram each other to death at one point as soon as they come around that island, which is a tad unfortunate. Dab looking for shots into the Iowa. However, now looking over on the opposite flank, he's seen what Riley's seen and is going to try to work over this main and get some shots down range here. So Dab's shooting at the main and continuing to push down in a manner where he can effectively get some shots here. Again, Ruslan plays a bit like we're going with 406s at tier 9. I mean, what wouldn't be to like that on that? You know, that's pretty sweet. If you look on the map here too, I'm going to be coming into contact with the Shimakaze, and there's going to be a pesky Austin that's going to take me out. And the Austin on the enemy team, if he watches this replay, dude, go buy yourself a lotto ticket. There are so many times where Dab brackets shots on him. I killed this Shima here, so if the enemy team's not going to have any DD remaining. However, I'm going to get taken out by this Austin, and I'm effectively, as soon as I turn out here, I'm dark because I'm smoking. He kills me, shooting me blind here, which is super awesome. It made me really happy. Anywho, as you can see, I'm blind there. He's not spotted, which means I've smoked up, and he just shoots the crap out of me as I'm wiggling blind, and is going to kill me. And again, Dab here trying to take shots onto this Austin, and just turns right at the right moment there. There are going to be times where Dab shoots him too, and there are going to be shells that land on the front side of his boat and on the back side of his boat. Just absolutely blessed, as well as one time where Dab's looking for shots and can't get them. So there we go, and switching back to Riley, who was spotting for Dab there. As you can see, Dab's round going in on the main, and the CV just absolutely half-health Riley, and is coming back for more. Just really, I mean, the CV did a good job there, hats off to him. However, I'm sure Riley wasn't too happy about it. RCB tried to do a good job of that, and countering that as the S6 does. RCB actually picks up a defense expert, showing that he was countering that as well. Riley's just still trying to continue to spot for our team, give them that advantage while picking up buffs, and still putting out some torpedoes that are basically just there to do some aerial denial work, slow up their push there on that flank. Give the enemy team something to think about. And you can see there on the 7 line, those 3 boats are finally going to come around the corner there. At one point, both cruisers are going to ram each other, and both cruisers will die because they ram each other. I can't make that up. Tier 9 and Tier 10 cruiser gameplay there. Riley gets a peed into the St. Vincent and a flood, so fantastic technology there from Miss Riley there. As well, she's still trying to continue to spot. And what's coming back for her? The pesky CV. Riley gets another random peed there, probably on the main there, that went dark. It looks like the main. And there is a Sejong right there too. Again, the 3 boats on the 7 line, I think they aren't sure if they should be shooting the Sejong, or they're probably still shooting the Iowa. Riley's looking for opportunities to, of course, spot for the team as well as pick up these buffs. Absolutely crazy work from the buff standpoint in arms race for Riley here. She is going to pick up all of our team's buffs, and all of them are going to be needed in some way, shape, form, fashion, whether it's points or actual attributes for our team. And then there you go again, the CV on Riley. Riley is having to use her smoke here to stay dark from the CV as she is continuing to get peppered then because she is spotted. CV coming back again at Riley. The man did not like what Riley was trying to do here. And again, hats off to the CV doing what he should be doing. Just unfortunately, Riley was a little too squiggly. And, that's props to her. She's again looking for something to potentially torp and back up from here. Yeah, so tense game here. And again, keep in mind the points are flipped. This is the replay bug is in effect here. Let's see what Mr. Dab's doing over here. Dab has now positioned himself here to take advantage of Riley's spotting and work over the St. Vincent and the main and the bungo and everything else that's pushing down, and trying to utilize these 406s. He's still full HP. Dab's gonna need every bit of his HP here. Gets a nice salvo there into the St. Vinny. The Shikishima over on this team, on our flank here, is going to play a fantastic game as well, and he's going to prove pretty clutch. Got a Valparaiso pushing down. Luckily for us here, the Valpar is not in a position to get his secondaries working, which means if you know how the funny button works, that he would be, regenning his funny button, regenning his health quickly. So doing a good job there of keeping him at bay while keeping him spotted. I believe Dab's going to switch over to HE here since the Valpar is bow on, as well as the fact that Dab realizes that he's not going to be able to utilize that funny button, which means basically free damage, and you love to see that there. There you go, Dab gets the double fire on there, which the Valpar is going to burn his DCP-4. Dab's already up to 87k here with that kill as well on top of it, and now positioning himself to push back into the main. Gonna make a nice little loop here, looking for an additional shot onto the Valpar, hopefully to pick up another fire here. And that's exactly what Dab's gonna do here with this salvo. Definitely taking advantages of all this dockyard boat has to offer here. Picks up that fire there, as well as the Shikishima absolutely smashes the Valpar here. So now Dab's again going to be looking at the main, as well as you're going to see Dab and Riley both do a good job of, even though they're kilometers apart, working off of each other and helping each other out. Dab's constantly, as you see his turrets turning back as I'm saying that, looking for opportunities to help out Riley, while Riley is trying to stay engaged in spotting and being that early warning indicator of where the boats are coming from, if for nothing else, so that everyone knows where it is. And there you go, you can see the two cruisers ramming each other, and they honestly die because of that. Dab has now picked up a double fire too on the main. This St. Vincent is poking his head out here as well. Shikishima is going to be shooting the St. Vincent, as well as Dab's looking for the opportunity to shoot him. St. Vincent, however, is going to have that wonderful British heal, and even though Dab picks up a fire on that, the St. Vincent is still healing pretty good, as well as the fact that the enemy team has the 3 heal buffs here from the arms race, so that St. Vincent is going to be able to heal a decent amount. So Dab hits the boost, actually shoots there, I think just kind of looking around there. However, the Shikishima got a fantastic salvo into him. And again, you can see Dab is trying to look for opportunities to help Riley, as well as, now he has that knowledge that the bungo's there, so he can see if the bungo has shot at him. However, this main is wonderfully broadside to him, gets a triple citadel there on the main for some monster damage. Dab takes some damage in return from the main. However, now Dab sees where the bungo is at, as well as this wonderfully lucky Austin, and is going to look for opportunities to shoot that Austin. Again, dude, this salvo here on the Austin actually was grinding my gears. Geez, the man goes unscathed for so long in the battle, and it's not for lack of trying, it's just for that wonderful thing in World of Warships we call RNG. There you go, you can see the shells land on both sides and all around the Austin there. What probably should have absolutely dumpstered him. Dab picks up a fire with his secondaries here on the main, and continues to push now down while slightly angled towards the main, and as best as he can to the bungo as the bungo shoots him there. Going to get off another salvo here into the main. Hey, caramba. There you go, 8.3k. Main is still healing through because, again, as mentioned before, they have all those heal buffs. So Dab is still doing damage at 180, almost 185k already. So a fantastic result from a tier 9 if the game were to end right now for Dab in a tier 11 matchmaker. And now is going to shoot at this main again. Ay, jeez Louise. And the Shikishima is also shooting at the main. And you can see all of the damage and the things that are pushing into the middle that are going to be shooting at Dab, and as well as chasing Riley at the same time. So it would have been great for those two cruisers to not ram each other, and potentially that battleship as well, and hopefully hold them up a little bit. However, that was not the case, and that is going to be very, very pesky for Mr. Dab and Miss Riley. Dab takes a big amount of damage there from the main, and as well as is continuing to get peppered by the Austin. Let's see what Riley has been dealing with in the meantime. Again, she's still trying to put out aerial denial torps. Again, that pesky CV keeping her spotted. She picks up a P there on, I believe, the Austin, as well as is trying her best to spot. You can see this is kind of still from back when the Valkyries was, dead or alive still before he died. Our CV doing work as well. Riley still trying to get some aerial denial torps in there, realizing that arms race, they have a lot of heal buffs here. Riley needs to try to get into this heal buff that is going to that's desperate for our team right now, as well as Riley too, because you know she's constantly taking damage from the enemy CV. As soon as she's spotted, it seems like the enemy team is Johnny on the spot, you know, trying to work her over. The cap is contested here, so Riley, that's something that if you guys aren't familiar with arms race, as soon as that cap flips, the points go very quickly. And it's almost a sure loss as soon as that happens. The points go that quickly. It's very, very hard to recover from. Not impossible, but it is very hard. So now with everything that's going on and everything that's chasing down Riley and the CV being on her, um, we're kind of talking in chat, and honestly, it's best here for Riley to do what she can to try to still just stay alive. She doesn't have to get bogged down in the cap, but she needs to stay alive. She's going to be the only thing that, if push comes to shove and we have to get creative, that is going to be able to kind of stop the cap. And that's what we're kind of looking at now. How can we keep Riley alive, even if it means that she leaves the cap temporarily? And it's going to prove important because there are those two other buffs there. Those two other buffs, and actually there's going to be a third, are going to be very, very clutch. So Riley's still doing what she can to help spot for the enemy, for our team, the enemy. As well as now it's kind of bingo time. She's spotted by the CV, way too close to everything. The Austin's on her again, gets some wonderful peeds into the bungo, as well as our CV is going to be working over the bungo. Iowa, Austin shooting her, as well as this bungo is still charging Riley down. Riley's forced to smoke. It is now kind of a time where we're like, Riley, just go ahead, get the buffs, and then work back from there. That even is going to prove difficult to do, as our Essex picks up the kill on the bungo. Very, very clutch. Riley herself is up to 5 buffs picked up and 110k damage, as well as the spotting that she's been doing and putting in work. As you can see, Dab just killed the main, and everything is going to open up on Dab for a minute. So kind of important to note from Riley's positioning here, how she's going to work her boat over as well as pick up these buffs while still trying to stay undetected from the Austin. Riley's looking around here, and now we say, Riley, it would be super, super clutch for you to pick up those other buffs here as Dab positions himself up, and then you can always get back. But if you look on where the mini-map is as to where the Austin's last spotted, we're unsure of if, and I believe we told the CV in chat to try to spot the Austin, because knowing where he is, there is a little gap on that 7 line where he could come through, and if the CV were to spot Riley, which he's going to do, that Austin could just basically straight up dumpster Riley if he were to come through that little gap there at the 7 line, which would be not ideal. And there you go. Shigashima picks up the kill on the Sejong. However, the Austin did double back, so this gives Riley an opportunity. The CV didn't spot Riley, so Riley has stayed out, done a good job of staying out of where the CV's planes are, as well as where the Austin can return fire. And again, aerial denial torps here from Riley. Maybe could have narrow spread that, but again, unsure as to how that Austin's moving. This probably safe, but with the widespread peeds here. Riley's using her speed boost because she's going to try to pick up both of these buffs here now, as that time is coming down for that buff to drop there. And again, that's going to give our team some points here, which is awesome, and take away some enemy points, as well as giving Dab the opportunity to have more attributes to make his battle a little bit closer. Riley picking up the damage buff there and another reload buff, so that makes Dab a ship to not be messed around with, and you guys are going to see that here in a moment. Dab is going to be looking for shots on this Austin again, as mentioned before, knowing that the Austin is going to be the biggest threat, not to him necessarily, but to Riley and to our team. Again, you can see he could be shooting that Iowa right now. He is spotted by the Iowa. but he's trying to look for shots on the Austin, trying to be a good teammate. Pops his heel there. Jeez, this is the world's luckiest Austin. As you can see, just on the cusp of utilizing that island where Dab can't get shots super effectively into him. Even gets 4 overpens there. Just luckiest Austin ever. Dab hits the reload button here as this Iowa saw he just shot, and Dab is going to punish that Iowa, picking up this Confederate and his high caliber there. Absolutely hurting the man, picking up another fire. The Austin is shooting him. The CV is dropping him. Dab gets another buff for himself there from the captain there. Gets some more rounds into the Iowa. Does 8.7k. You can see trying to throttle drop and throw off the Austin's reload booster. Does a good job of that. And hopefully can get some more damage into this Iowa. And he's going to be able to do that here. He's going to pick up another Citadel on the Iowa. Great knowledge of where to shoot there from Dab, showing not to lead too far up because of where the ricochet angles are, as well as properly angling his boat and knowing what his boat's armor layout is into that Iowa. So that didn't kill him. However, the Austin rolls fairly high from that and gets the kill on Dab there. Riley's got some more peds going off here, and now Riley is going to be pushing back into the cap, applying pressure on the cap, so making it so that the CV is going to have to come after her again, as well as, you know, making it so that they've got to do something about her. However, they kind of aren't going to be able to. And Riley is going to, we kind of mentioned to Riley, just sail through the cap and sail right to that reload buff. And that is going to turn out to be clutch. It's going to give the Shikishima an opportunity to do something where if he did not, he might not have lived. Very, very low on time here as well. And, you know, this game again could go anyone's way. Riley again has picked up 8 buffs now in arms race, done 110k, 74k spotting, just again, super textbook. You can see the statistics on, you know, the mini Duelist torpedoes and the fact that it gets an opportunity to shoot a little bit speedier torpedo from shorter ranges if she switches to that, but that hasn't been really needed here, as Riley has been trying her darndest to just fend off the wolves and make sure that people are going to have to turn away from her torpedoes here. Due to the fact, honestly, because the enemy CV is doing such a good job of continually spotting her here. So get some torps off to the Iowa here. Our CV is in a bad position now with that Austin and is going to go down. Riley kind of sees that the Austin is backing up, so Riley cheekily is going to try to squeeze some torpedoes there. Again, really good team play there from Riley, noticing, hey, you know, I probably could have thrown another salvo of torps at the Iowa, but just in case, I want to help out the Shikishima in case the Austin backs up. However, the Shikishima is going to be okay, and the Austin is going to take a pretty aggressive position here, and the Shikishima is going to be okay here, and you'll see in a moment because Riley's going to pick up this buff. So the Shikishima is going to be able to shoot into the Austin. He does not kill the Austin in one salvo. However, the Austin's almost in torpedo range, and Riley picking up this reload buff is clutch. Just barely clutch, and you'll kind of see that out of the backside here. Riley getting some more torpedoes into the Iowa here. The Iowa is now a little bit too close to Riley, and she's going to have to kite out the Iowa here. And you'll see here in a moment, and you can kind of see on the mini-map, look how close they are. That's not advantageous for the Shikishima there. So yeah, I believe, and he does eat some peds there. However, his reload is in time, and he is able to kill that Austin. Super clutch that Riley was able to get that. That basically wraps up the game. Game is effectively won here. Can Riley put a little bit of icing on the cake there Yes, she can, as she picks up the kill there on the Iowa. Fantastic game. This was Riley's first class, 140k, 9 buffs picked up and kill. Fantastic. And had to get creative DD gameplay there. Definitely had to get creative. That was tense. It was tense. Then it's Riley just slightly over 2k base experience, almost 2.1k base experience. Ay, ay, just getting everything that he could out of the boat, right? You can see Riley also, you know, spotted, 70 plus K damage, tanked almost 1 million damage in a mini Gumo, and touched a lot of boats, whether it was spotting or, actually doing damage, which is uh, the sign of a solid DD player for sure. So well done to Riley. You guys can see the credits that she made here. Again, just solid gameplay there. Wonderful, wonderful. And this was her first time taking this boat out into randoms as well. Let's see what Dab did here. 265k, got his E, whole slew of medals here. Just absolutely fantastic gameplay. And honestly, unselfish gameplay shown here from Dab, showing how you support your DD when you're in a battleship here. That's netting Dab his E badge and a little bit over 2.5k XP, and again 2.7 over 2.7 million tank tier 2 in a game where he was basically kind of heads up tanking the amount of damage from a main there. You can see all the different boats that Dab did work on, as well as did 21k spotting himself, which is awesome. And you can see the profit that netted. So fantastic game. Hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your evening. I'll be on live again here later. See you guys.